Okay, good morning class. So today we're looking at grade 12. This is a cycle test. Cycle test. It says May, so it's 2 of 2021. Last one. Alright, so let's go to the first question. We are told that in the circle, C, which is 1 and 2, not written in here, it's written in, and A, which is 0 and 4. Make this a bit smaller. Go to the first question. The question says, determine the equation of the circle. Okay, so is this circle at the origin? The center at the origin? No. So it follows the formula. X minus a squared plus y minus b squared is equal to r squared. So I'll have x minus 1 squared plus y minus 2 squared is equal to r squared. So in order to calculate your radius r, what I'm going to do is I'm going to substitute a, which is 0 and 4. Alright, so we got 0 minus 1 squared plus 4 minus 2 squared is equal to r squared. So that is going to be 1 plus 2 squared, which is 4. R squared is 5. You can go with the square root, but the question was not to calculate your radius. So it's simply going to be x minus 1 squared plus y minus 2 squared is equal to 5. Okay. Let's look at 1.2. 1.2 says the equation of BA, if BA is a tangent to the circle at A. So we know that the radius will always be perpendicular to the tangent. So the gradient of CA, which is the radius, is going to be changed in y, but change in x. So it's going to be 4 minus 2 over 0 minus 1, which is negative 2. So the gradient of the tangent times the gradient of the radius negative 1 because of its being perpendicular. So the gradient of the tangent, of course, is r, or you can say the gradient of AB. So y is equal to a half x plus c, and c is your y-intercept in this case is going to be 4. Okay, let's write this in here. So y is equal to a half x plus 4. The equation of the circle, of course, is x minus 1 squared plus y minus 2 squared is equal to 5. Let's go to the next question. We are asked to calculate the size of theta. Or alpha, sorry. The size of alpha. So as you can see here, what can be calculated is this angle here. It can be calculated as that angle there. And then we know that the exterior angle is equal to the sum of the two interior opposites. But what we note is that that is also 90 degrees. Not so? So we're going to first say that tan of ABX is equal to the gradient of AB. So ABX is equal to arctan. So the gradient of AB we calculated to be half. Okay, which gives me an answer of arctan. Oh wow, it's 26,57. So therefore alpha is equal to 26,57 plus 90 degrees. 116,57. Okay, so that's 26, again we don't need the reason here. So unless the question say with the reason. Okay. So this is not analytical, this is not Euclidean. We need reason. Okay. Moving to question 2. We are given h of x equal to negative 3 over x minus 1 plus 2. We have the equation of the axis of symmetry of h that has a negative gradient. Okay. Normally I would do this question after the graph has been drawn. Okay. But let's just do a rough sketch here. We know that the graph is going to go through quadrants 2 and 3. So x is equal to 1, y is equal to 2 there. So that's what the graph is going to look like. But the negative gradient is going to come through like it. So y is equal to minus x plus c, and it's going through this point there of 1 and 2. That is the point where the two asymptotes intersect. So the equation is y is equal to negative x plus c. You would have to say with a positive gradient, I would have said y is equal to x plus c. So we substituted that point in both cases you would have done the same. Let's say x and a y. So 2 is equal to minus 1 plus c, and c works out to be an answer 3. So therefore my equation of the axis of symmetry is x is equal to, y is equal to minus x plus 3. Okay, let's look at 2.2. 2.2, sketch the graph of h showing the asymptotes and the intercept with the axis. Okay, so we started by drawing the asymptote, y is equal to 2, x is equal to 1. Okay, and I said the graph is going to go through that quadrant and this quadrant there. So what do we still need to calculate is our x-intercept. How do you calculate x-intercept? Is y equal to 0. So you got 0 is equal to negative 3 over x minus 1 plus 2. But they get over the equal sign. Get 3 over x minus 1. Remember the sign don't change. The state of the fraction changes. Equals 2 and cross multiply. So 2 times x minus 1 is 2x minus 2 is equal to 3. So 2x is equal to 5, x is then equal to 5 over 2. Remember this is 1 here, so that makes sense that it could be 5 over 2. The y-intercept. What do you do for y-intercept? We let x equal to 0. Alright, so we got h of 0 is equal to minus 3 over 0 minus 1 plus 2. Give an answer of 5. That is 2, so yes, that could be 5. Okay, any confusion there? No? Write down the range of z of x. If z of x is equal to h of x plus 5. People, what is the range of f of x? H of x, which is this function here. What's the range? It's going negative infinity, positive infinity. So y is an element of all real numbers. But y is not equal to? Did you see that? So if this graph is plus 5, which means that the graph is going to move 5 units up. So the asymptote also moves 5 units up. So it becomes 7. Y is equal to 7. So what's my the range? Y is an element of R. Y is not equal to. Alright. We have question 3. Here we are told that the graph of m of x equal to b to the x is sketched below. So m of x is equal to b to the x. A is going to be -1 and a quarter, not indicated on the graph. is a point on the graph of M. Let's go to the first question. First question says, write down the coordinates of the y-intercept of M. People, how do you calculate the y-intercept? Then x equal to 0. So you got m of 0 equals b to the 0. Anything to the power of 0 is 1. So write down the coordinates. So therefore, it's going to be 0 and 1. Okay. 3.2, the question then says calculate the value of b. As you can see, is one unknown there. We just need 1 point. We'll substitute -1.25 into m of x equals b to the x. Remember, this is a y. That's a x and a y. So we got 1/4 is equal to b to the -1. Now b to the -1 is 1 over b equals 1 over 4. Therefore b is equal to 4. Or you can cross multiply and get b to be 4. Okay, so m of x is equal to 4 to x. Okay, go to the next question. The next question says, write down the equation of the inverse of m in the form of y. The inverse. What do we do for the inverse? We interchange x and y. Not so. Remember, this is your y. So for the inverse function, it's going to be x is equal to 4 to the y. You make y the subject, therefore y is equal to log x base 4, and that is the inverse of m. Okay? What is the domain of the inverse function? What the domain and the range of the inverse function? So it's one of two things. I can either draw it and then state the domain and the range, or in my mind I can just swap the domain and the range with the range and the domain of the function itself. You all agree with that? So if I should draw it, it's going to go through there. -1.25 becomes 1/4 negative. Again, you don't have to draw this thing. Okay. That's the inverse function. So what's my domain? Does this graph exist at negative infinity? No. So x must be greater than 0. Can it be equal on 0? No. Why? Asymptote. This is your domain. What's the range? Negative infinity, positive infinity. Not so. So what's the range? Y is an element of? Y is an element of all real numbers. Let's look at the next one. Three 3.5. Describe the transformation from m to p of x if p of x is equal to 1 over 4 to the x plus 3. So if you look at this here, p of x could also be written as 4 to the minus x plus 3. You all agree with that? Okay. So under what condition do we move from positive x to negative x? Sorry? So we first going to say it's reflected in y-axis. So if I reflect this in the y-axis, x becomes negative. So I'm taking it from here, okay? So it becomes y is equal to 4 to the minus x, which I have, yes? And then what happens? Shift the graph. Shift the graph by 3 units up. Which now will give us y is equal to 4 to the minus x plus. Okay. Where do we mark here? We mark here there and there. You don't have to show this. Okay. 3.6. write down the equation of the asymptote of the inverse of P. So what is the equation of this asymptote of P of x? What type of graph is this? Exponential. What's the equation of this asymptote? Y is equal to 3. Not so. So what happens if you find the inverse function? The x asymptote of the y asymptote, y is equal to 0, or the horizontal asymptote becomes the vertical asymptote. Not so. So if you got y is equal to 3, that asymptote is going through here. So if you reflect this, it will go through at x is equal to 3. Can you see that? So x will be equal to 3 will be the asymptote in question. Alright. Question 4. The question says calculate the limit as x approaches 2 of x squared minus x minus 2 over 4 minus x squared. If I substitute x into here, with the 2 into this expression, we'll get an answer of 0 in the denominator, which will make the sum undefined. So what we do is we have to factorize and get rid of this denominator. So x approaches 2, and that will factorize into x and x, 2 and 1, minus plus, over, swap that around, negative comes out, and the difference of 2 squares. Okay, so we get the limit as x approaches 2 of x plus 1 over negative into x plus 2. So if we substitute that into here, I will then get 3 over negative. Okay. So the next one, determine f prime x from first principles. I must apply the rule. So f prime x, so the formula is called the limit as h approaches 0 of f of x plus h minus f of x all over h. Okay. So if f of x is 5x squared minus 2x, then we replace x with x plus h, which is 5 into x plus h squared minus 2 into x plus h. Alright, so we're going to do the first point of simplification as well, as we're substituting. So that's going to give you x squared, so it's 5x squared. That times 2 is going to give you 2xh times 5 is going to be 10xh. That's going to be h squared times 5 is 5h squared minus 2x minus 2h minus f of x, which is 5x squared minus 2x. That's all over h. So I multiply this in, I'm going to get negative 5x squared, which cancel 5x squared. Multiply that in, I'm going to get positive 2x, which cancels the 2x. Which then gives us the limit as h approaches 0. We take out h as a common factor. So only have 10x plus 5h minus 2 all over h. Of course that cancels. We have here h I put a 0. Which gives me an answer of 10x minus 2. Okay. So to 4.3.1. We got d of x, or find the derivative of x. D of x is of x squared minus 9x minus 10 all over x plus 1. So of course people, the question did not ask for first principles. So I can apply the rules because it's easy. Okay. I don't think you will be able to, with the information you have, to apply the differentiation by first principles there anyway. Okay, but anyway, so as we know, we must get it in the form of ax to the power n. So it's not in that order. So what I must do is I'm going to factorize that first as d of x. be x plus 1 into x minus 10 over x plus 1. That cancels, leave you with d of x minus 10. Apply the derivative, that will fall away. No, that won't fall away. Apply the derivative of x of course is 1, derivative of a constant falls away. The answer is 1. Next one. (4.3.2) f prime x and f of x is equal to that. So we've got f of x is equal to, that must be written in exponential form. So it's going to be 3 over 5 plus, that can be written as x to the half over x to the 1. So that's going to give you x to the 3 over 5 plus half minus 1 is minus half. Apply my derivative. So f prime x is equal to 3 over 5x minus 1 is negative 2 over 5 minus a half x minus 3 over 2. If you want, you can write it in with positive exponents. The question did not ask for that, but I'm just going to write it anyway. Check if that's correct. The next question, we are given dy dx if xy is equal to 2x cubed plus x minus 2. So firstly, dy dx, I will make y the subject of the formula first. So I divide by x to the r. So you're going to give me y is equal to 2x squared. But that cancels, give me plus 1 minus 2 over x, which becomes 2 to the x minus 1. Why did I bring that up? So we want it in the form of ax to the exponent. Apply my derivative. Now I must put my notation in, change the notation. So d of x is equal to, dy over dx is equal to, that's going to give me 4x, derivative of constant is 0, plus 2x minus 2. Again, this was not the question. If you want to write it in positive exponents, it will be 4x plus 2 over x squared. Okay. Question 5. We are told to solve for a and b if x minus 1 and x minus 3 are factors of. People, if something is a factor, it's divisible. Okay, we'll give you an answer. A remainder of 0 there. So what you're going to do is you're going to start with substituting x is equal to 1. What I do is I set that equal to 0. That's how I get x equal to 1. Okay? If I see x, I put a 1. So it's 1 cubed minus a times 1 squared plus b times 1 plus 6 is equal to 0. Alright? So b is equal to. Now 1 cubed is 1 plus 6 is 7. So it's minus 7. This is minus 8, take it out, it becomes plus 2. That's equation 1. This here we say that equal to 0, so x minus 3 is equal to 0, so x is equal to 3. So you substitute, x is equal to 3 into the same equation, expression, and form an equation, so it's going to be 3 cubed minus 8 times 3 squared plus b times 3 plus 6 is equal to 0. This of course gives me 27 plus 6 is negative 33, but take it over the equal sign. So minus 9a plus 3. I'm going to make it a bit simpler. I'm going to divide by 3. It's going to be negative 3a plus b equals negative 11. And this is equation 2. So what do I do now? Sub equation 1 into equation 2, whereby C A, B. So therefore, negative 3a plus a minus 7 is equal to negative 11. You get over the equal sign, becomes negative 2a is equal to negative 4. Is that correct? So a can give me an answer 2. What we then do is we sub that into equation 1. So b is equal to 2 minus 7, which is that correct? Negative. There's your value for A and okay. The bonus question. Determine A, B and C if g of x is equal to that. And okay, so normally we get g of x is equal to ax cubed plus bx squared plus cx plus the. Not so. You're speaking about g prime x. How do we normally get g prime x? Apply a derivative, not so. So it's going to be 3ax plus 2bx plus c. Derivative of constant is 0. But we are given this here. We are told that g of x is g prime of x is also equal to negative 6x squared plus 4x minus 1. So from here it's clear that those two are connected. So in other words, we know that 3ax squared is equal to negative 6x squared. That is equal. So 3a is equal to negative 6. So a is going to be negative 2. Okay. Or we could have done it by inspection and say, okay, I can see that that's going to be negative 2. Okay, if that's negative 2, 3 times negative 2 is going to give you negative 6. This is another way of doing it. And that's going to give you 2bx. And we've got 4, so b is 2, and so on. Okay. Or you can just go what I'm doing here. And you've got 2bx, of course, it has to be equal to 4x. The x's are the same, so 2b is equal to 4, b is equal to 2, and then c is equal to. Okay. Any confusion there? So that brings us to the end of cycle test 2 of 2021.